Menkaure and Queen. Let's start with the basics. This is King Menkaure, an Egyptian pharaoh of the 4th dynasty, specifically of the Old Kingdom, which was located in Memphis, ancient Egypt. This statue was made in honor of him in 2490-2472 BCE after his sudden death. It depicts him and potentially his queen standing side by side in a one-sided embrace. They wear the traditional uniform for pharaoh statues, a bare chest and loincloth. They have youthful faces that are almost the same height. With a further look, we can see the statue is actually unfinished. The potential queen is not properly polished. Her feet are not completely carved. As for the technicals, the statue is made of greywacke that was carved to achieve this shape and stands at 7 feet in height. Now, before we analyze it, let's start with a brief history. This statue was found by a famous archaeologist and art historian named George Reisner. He found it during the Harvard Fine Arts expedition to Egypt that he spearheaded. During this expedition, Reisner was looking to evacuate multiple pieces of art and came across King Menkaure and Queen. He found it by the smallest pyramid in the complex called the Pyramid of Menkaure. He found it essentially in a ditch or hole in which it was miraculously protected, considering it was preserved there for over 4,000 years. He then found complementary figures depicting either Menkaure or other kings in the same fashion. Now that we have covered its discovery, we can go into what archaeologists deduced after examining and comparing it to different works. So archaeologists found that this was a funerary piece in the tomb of Menkaure, which represented his status as supreme ruler and pharaoh. The main function of this was to be a receptacle for the ka, or spirit of the pharaoh in the afterlife. This receptacle was then accessed by priests on a ceremony called the opening mouth, where the priest would open the statue's nose, eyes, and mouth to allow the spirit of the pharaoh to breathe and fully experience all the senses in the afterlife and fully ascend. Now we've covered all the baseline knowledge for the statue, so it's time to discuss the more niche meanings. First, the left foot of the pharaoh. In this statue, the left foot of Menkaure is ahead of his right one. This is an indicator of him taking a step towards the afterlife. It is his left foot that is forward, as the left side of the body was considered superior in ancient Egypt due to it harboring the heart. So it essentially means his heart or his soul is taking a step forward into the afterlife. This was one of the first statues to be set in this position and started a trend in which it became common to have the male's left foot forward in Egyptian statues. This even spread to Greece, where their male deities began to have their left foot forward as well. But what is not common in this statue is that his potential queen also has her left foot forward. Women in all the cultures typically had their legs together. This is because there is heavy discourse over whether that is even his queen. You see, Menkaure did have 2 wives, his sisters. He was married to Khama-ur-Netbi and Rekhetri. The main wife was Khama-ur-Netbi, the one who was theorized to be the queen in this statue. The issue is that she was buried in a completely different tomb and was mortal. Thus, she wasn't considered an equal to the pharaoh. So, therefore, the queen in this was a god. So after looking at both sides of the argument, here is my theory. Unless Menkaure was just extremely liberal for his time, this woman is not his wife, but the godly embodiment of his wife, also known as Hathor. Hathor is the wife of Horus and Ra, also known as the mythological mother of their earthly regions, aka pharaohs, meaning that she watches over the pharaohs when they are human, but when they die and become gods, like Ra and Horus, she becomes their wife. Her official title in the afterlife is the goddess of welcoming. She is to provide food, drink, and entertainment to the pharaohs entering the spirit world, which is a reason why she would be standing next to Menkaure with her foot forward. She might be the one leading him to the spirit world, as she knows the way. So because she is in charge of safely leading them into the spirit world, it could explain their one-sided embrace. She's holding him securely as she leads him. Next, Hathor's nickname was literally Mistress of Life. So when the king died, he left his mortal wife and went to the mistress. Lastly, Hathor was known for turquoise gems, malachite, and gold. So if the tomb wasn't looted, we would know for sure if she is Hathor. In my opinion, because she's standing next to him with her foot forward and embracing him, and if you look closely, archaeologists say Menkaure's head is slightly turned, the woman is not his queen, but Hathor. This is because there is heavy discourse over whether that is even his
created using Powtoon.